This is the supposed first photo of the Chernobyl disaster. The person who captured the photo, Igor Kostin, claimed that he took it the morning after, when a friend, who happened to be a helicopter pilot, offered to take him on a trip to the reactor to document it for any news reports. That's what he says. But is this true? No. While this photo was indeed taken by Igor Kostin, it was in fact taken on the 14th of May. It becomes obvious that this photo was not taken on the 26th of April when you look at the pattern of the debris damage. From this ground photo, taken the morning of April 27th, you can see these roof supports along the top of the image. When we look at Kostin's photo, which he claims was taken before this image, these roof supports are absent. They did in fact collapse a few days later, during the evening of April the 29th. And the graininess? Not a result of radiation. They are a result of poor quality while Kostin was setting up the camera. But what about the video? The damaged roof supports are still present here. And if it wasn't Kostin who took the video, as he claims he did in the 2006 documentary The Battle of Chernobyl, who did? Who took the first photo, for that matter? These questions take us on a story of deception, lies, and ultimately death. It is the story of many men who tirelessly fought to document the events, so those tasked with solving the crisis had the best information to hand. This is the Chernobyl mystery we will examine today. The story of the first photo that we are aware of is not difficult to answer. It begins with another photographer, the Chernobyl nuclear power plant's official photographer, no less. His name is Anatoly Raskazov, and he took many photos that are well known, including this photo of the Unit 3 control room, and this photo of the North Pump Hall for Unit 4, where Valery Hodomchuk ultimately lost his life. Born on the 16th of January 1941, Raskazov was a simple photographer and artist who would draw portraits of Soviet leaders for May Day parades in his spare time. It was mere bad luck that he found himself at the scene of the world's worst nuclear disaster. In the morning of April 26, Raskazov was awoken at his apartment in Pripyat and asked to make his way to the bunker. When he arrived, he effectively waited around until Boris Prushinsky and Konstantin Polushkin asked for a photographer to accompany them on a helicopter flight over the reactor. So Raskazov went up and photographed the scene. He took a plethora of photos while hanging out of the helicopter, soldiers holding him by his feet. And then the helicopter landed, and they were asked to do the same from the ground. Approaching by foot was considered too dangerous, so they decided to take an abandoned fire engine and drive it along a series of rail lines that led to Unit 4. They took their photographs from the ground and drove back. According to Raskazov, one series of the films he took on the ground failed to develop, likely because he took a close-up photo of a chunk of graphite. But the second series from his primary camera was fully developed and in extremely high quality. Raskazov handed the photos to a KGB officer, who numbered them and then confiscated them. While these photos would be heavily used by the government commission in the early days of the accident, Raskazov would never see them again until 2006, when the Chernobyl nuclear power plant administration returned some of the photos it had in its possession to Raskazov. Anatoly Raskazov never fully recovered from his radiation exposure at Chernobyl. A radiation burn on his forehead never healed, and he suffered a variety of blood diseases and cancer, likely a direct result of the months spent close to the nuclear power plant. These proved fatal on February 17, 2010. We now have an answer for the first photo, but what do we know about this video? Well, its verifiable author is Konstantin Polushkin, an employee of Nikiet, the Research and Development Institute of Power Engineering, providing scientific and technical support to nuclear power plants with RBMK reactors. Polushkin was representing the entire organisation when he was sent as part of the preliminary fact-finding part of the government commission. As you may remember, Polushkin was on the helicopter with Raskazov when he took the first photograph. And this is where it gets both interesting and somewhat conspiratorial. In Grigory Medvedev's book, The Truth About Chernobyl, Medvedev specifies a scene in which Polushkin, Prushinsky and Raskazov take their helicopter flight. In this short passage, Medvedev explicitly mentions that Polushkin was filming the event, even mentioning quotes that seem similar to those Polushkin says in the video. Hover right above the reactor. That's right. Hold it there. Take some pictures. Furthermore, Valentin Fedylenko, a member of the government commission who arrived on April the 27th, literally arriving as all the buses were driving out, mentions how both on April the 26th, Polushkin reported filming the events on video in a phone call, and was subsequently played the video on the evening of April 27th. On April 29th, he continues, Polushkin flew back to Moscow with the tapes to show scientists there. Why am I telling you this? Because this video, which so clearly seems to match the video described by Medvedev, Fedylenko, and others, is not the same video. Polushkin says that the video was taken on April the 28th in the video. And this creates an issue, because it means that there is another colour video that exists showing the reactor on April 26. Fedylenko elaborates on this. Didn't someone else shoot the collapse together with Polushkin before, for example on the April 26th or 27th? After all, he flew around the reactor on the afternoon of April 26th, on the first day after the explosion of the reactor, after which in the evening he reported the complete destruction of the reactor to Galavk. Maybe, did we watch another video on the day of the arrival on the evening of April 27th, and the shooting was apparently done not by an employee of Nikiet, but by someone else, together with Polushkin? They suggest that Prushinsky or Raskazov may have taken the video. However, Raskazov was taking photos while hanging out of the helicopter, and so it was likely filmed by Prushinsky. For anybody doubting that the video was taken on April 28th, thinking he said it by mistake, there are a few ways in which we can verify this date. First, the approach of the helicopter. According to Grigory Medvedev and Nikolai Karpan in The Truth About Chernobyl and From Chernobyl to Fukushima respectively, the helicopter approached from Pripyat. However, in this helicopter footage, the helicopter approaches from the northeast, over the cooling pond. Secondly, compare the smoke. In the photos from April 26th, the density of the smoke is greatly increased. It would slowly reduce over the following days, including on April the 28th. This matches the video. And now, for the conspiratorial aspect. In the documentary Chernobyl: The Lost Tapes, released in 2022, a section of this film is presented, including the audio of Polushkin saying April 28th. However, they have distorted the audio and included the subtitle April 26th. Why would they do this? I'll let you decide that. We will conclude with a series of photos and videos taken throughout the early period of the disaster. We have, of course, these three iconic photos from April the 26th by Anatoly Raskazov, followed by a series of photographs taken from the ground and the air on April the 27th, taken by Raskazov and the police captain Valery Yevtushenko. On April the 28th, we of course have the now infamous helicopter footage, and the following day we have even more, this in black and white taken by an unknown camera operator. However, they have a very shaky hand, hence why the video has been stabilised for clarity. There are also these photos from the 29th, and these on the 30th, taken by various sources, some Raskazov, some KGB, some police, and some government commission. It is believed that this video of helicopters attempting to drop materials into the reactor, and subsequently missing, was also taken on April the 30th. And then we cross into May, and the number of photographs and videos becomes extraordinary. And this concludes the first mystery in our series. The first still photo may have been taken by Anatoly Raskazov, but the first video, which might indeed contain the first image of the accident, may remain completely unseen to the public. Steps have been taken by numerous documentaries to hide this fact, even doctoring the audio to conceal it. The ultimate fate of this video remains unknown.